Hi there, gardeners. I hope that you're enjoying winter, tolerating, surviving. Anyway, hang in there. Spring is around the corner, but it's not here yet. So today we're going to talk about how to create winter interest in our gardens. Hi there, I'm Beth, and I'm creating a native garden in the upper Midwest, and I hope you'll join me on my journey. So does anyone else get amnesia about winter? Like the second the weather gets nice, I completely forget that winter exists. Just me? I think for me, at least, this is a big reason of why it's so difficult to plan for winter interest in my garden. When it's nice outside and it's time to plant, I'm only thinking about what looks good right in that moment. And any thought of winter has completely been banished from my mind. That's why I want to talk now about winter interest while it's on our minds and share my secret easy button for winter interest that will take any garden from a flat moonscape of melting snow and mud and turn it into a beautiful winter garden that's also beneficial for wildlife. In a native garden, maintenance practices are almost as important as plant choice in benefiting wildlife. So how we prepare our garden for winter and handle the dead plant material is actually a really important aspect of that. People have started talking more about leaving the leaves, and I made a video about how to do that if you want to learn more. Link in the description below. So leaving plants standing over winter is a really important part of ecological garden maintenance. A lot of insects use the hollow stems of dead perennials to lay their eggs, and all that leaf litter and stem litter is a really important habitat for caterpillars and other insects that overwinter. It's critical that we keep areas of our yards undisturbed with lots of dead stems and leaves so that these insects can complete their life cycles. Leaving stems up also provides food for birds in the form of seeds. And if you choose shrubs that have winter berries, those are an important food source for birds as well. But in addition to all of these wildlife benefits, leaving plants standing actually can be so much more interesting and attractive than cutting them back to the ground in fall. There are a few things to keep in mind, though, to keep it looking great. So in the growing season, a lot of gardeners, myself included, focus on getting as many flowers as they possibly can into their gardens. And I get it. Flowers are beautiful and the pollinators definitely need them. But the thing is, in winter, a garden with too many flowering plants can actually look a bit scraggly. And so this is my big secret, or maybe it's not so big of a secret. The easiest, fastest way to pump up the winter interest in your garden is to add more grasses. Add some native grasses in clumps or masses. They keep their leaves and they provide structure and shape for your garden. So just as an example, I took this picture in a parking lot. These aren't native grasses, and this isn't even necessarily the most attractive thing ever, but you can clearly see how the grass is providing structure here and holding its shape, even into early February when I took this. Compare that to a bed with only flowering plants. You can see through the stems, and there's just not the same visual impact. Some great native grasses for home landscapes includes prairie dropseed. It has a really flowy fountain shape. Sideoats Grama is also a great choice. It's a little bit stiffer, also a clump forming grass, and it's got really pretty texture in its seed heads. Switchgrass is another great choice. It's a little bit taller and it's also got really nice seed heads, these sort of airy seed heads, and they can persist well into winter. Little Bluestem is probably my favorite though. The leaves turn this beautiful coppery color and the seed heads are just these beautiful little fluffy white things. It's so pretty. It's nice to incorporate different grasses to get some contrast in color and shape. It can be hard to appreciate this in summertime when the grasses are sort of playing second fiddle to the flowers, but I promise you, come winter, you will be so glad that you added some grasses. Where flowers come into play for winter interest is with their seed heads. Cone flowers, we're talking about Echinacea, Rudbeckias. These provide the most striking seed heads. They are some of the largest and they turn black. So they offer great contrast to all of those grays and browns of a lot of other plants. I like to think about contrasting seed head forms, just like I think about different flower forms in the summer when they're blooming. So anise hyssop has a really nice vertical seed head, so does Culver's root. One of my favorites is actually common evening primrose, which I didn't actually even plant in my garden, so it's a weed, I guess. But anyway, it's the most beautiful seed heads. I love, love, love them so much. They're so sculptural. They've got these wonderful pods. Another weed in my yard that I love for winter interest is tall boneset. The sepals turn this really creamy color and it really shines against those other gray and brown colors during the wintertime. I also really love Joe Pye species for winter interest. Those mauve flowers fade to really beautiful, fluffy, tan seed heads. Some shorter options include allium species like showy wild garlic. Those seeds persist through most of winter and look really nice. Anemone Virginiana is also another great option along with other anemone species. They have a really nice drumstick shape to them, and then over winter, they slowly open up and turn into these lovely cream-colored puffs. And don't think I forgot about berries. There's no denying that a shrub with red or white berries can be absolutely breathtaking in the winter landscape. And there are a lot of great options in North America. Ilex verticillata, aka winterberry, is a deciduous native holly with bright red berries. So in the winter, you're just left with stems of really bright red berries. It's beautiful. American holly, or Ilex opaca, keeps its leaves but also has red berries, so if you wanted something evergreen, that's a good option. Other great choices include staghorn sumac, American highbush cranberry, northern bayberry, or snowberry also have really beautiful berries. So gardeners sometimes assume that any berries are providing winter food for wildlife, and while that may be somewhat true, there's a pretty big catch to that. Non-native berries often don't have the right nutritional profile that birds need during wintertime. So birds native to North America are either migrating in winter or they're overwintering in a very cold climate. Because of this, they need a lot of energy, especially fat, in order to survive winter. Many of our native shrubs produce berries that are relatively high in fat and protein, giving them enough energy that they need at the right time. With many non-native shrubs, the timing of the berry production or the nutritional profile might not align with what birds need and when they need it. In some cases, they can even be harmful to birds. Using native shrubs is a great way to help our birds and create wonderful winter interest. Another feature that sometimes gets overlooked is the bark on our trees and shrubs. The stems of red twig dogwood are brilliant against a fresh blanket of snow. We also have a lot of native trees and shrubs with great bark texture, such as paper birch and river birch. Prairie ninebark also has really showy peeling bark that catches the eye in wintertime. There are also a few native shrubs that bloom in wintertime, such as witch hazel. Hamamelis Virginiana blooms in fall to early winter, and Hamamelis Vernalis blooms in late winter to early spring. They both have these spidery yellow blooms with a delicate spicy scent. So there's a fine line between creating winter interest and just letting things go. Keeping things tidy will go a long way to making your garden look intentional and well cared for. In the fall, do a light tidying by trimming back stems that are flopping into pathways, or even selectively trimming out stems within the planting. You'll need to do this periodically through winter as well, especially after a heavy snow. Make sure that you have a way to keep fallen leaves where you've placed them, such as a short fence around your bed. Leaves have a tendency to fly around in winter winds, and it can look a bit untidy if they're strewn all around your yard. If your beds are bordered by lawn, make sure that the lawn has been edged going into winter. As winter wears on, things can start looking a little worse for the wear. There's usually a point in early spring where the plants have gotten pretty knocked around, and trimming a few stems here and there is not going to cut it. I try and wait as long as I can, and then I only cut stems back about 12 to 18 inches. I'm planning to make a video when I do my spring cleanup, so more info on that is coming soon. I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you're planning to add to your garden. Thanks. See you again soon.